that we want to signal to our investor that that money is available. So if we keep on producing cash flows like we have over the last few years, there is more potential, absolutely.
There was a time when automobile experts were calling the EV surge a short-term phenomenon, and turns out, morally driven cars were just a trend, and Mercedes is so over it. The luxury car maker has announced that it will continue to make combustion engines, and in that realm, they are ready to outdo their rivals as AMG continues to perfect the M139. With its masterful fuel and thermal efficiency specs, Mercedes might as well just crush the EV market. And as the M139 makes a stride in the automobile world, it just did. Join us as we reveal everything you need to know about M139, the engine that will kill the EV industry. Mercedes makes a U-turn. The world has taken the moral high ground for electric vehicles, but Mercedes has just made an aggressive U-turn. Previously, the luxury car manufacturer had announced its electric-first plan to pursue the consistent electrification of all model variants and vehicle types as a clear target. It was on its way to achieving electric vehicle-only sales by 2030, being consistent with the global benchmark of achieving carbon neutrality by the same year. Now, Mercedes-Benz has shelved its plans. At the same time, the company has already released a magnificent engine to stay on top of its game. While the manufacturers have significantly delayed their EV timeline, it promises efficiency and enhanced productivity in its IC engine lineup. It seems like Mercedes-Benz wants to accomplish the biggest engine roar before many manufacturers go quiet with their electric vehicles. To further appease the ICE engine's enthusiasts, Mercedes has recently announced a $15 billion investment in high-tech combustion engine technology that has sent ripples through the automotive industry. Mercedes-Benz CEO Ola Källenius underscored the critical need for these investments, warning that without them, the company's combustion engine division could encounter major challenges as early as 2027 or 2028. This potential setback is linked to the tightening Euro 7 and China 7 emissions regulations. The Euro 7 standard, set to take effect on July 1, 2025, will be the most stringent yet, mandating that all new petrol and diesel vehicles adhere to the lowest emission limits previously outlined in Euro 6. Specifically, from 2025 onward, all new cars must limit nitrogen oxide emissions to just 60 milligrams to remain compliant. For climate change mitigation enthusiasts, Euro 7 standards are a milestone victory. However, in general, the global trend of driving EVs is also declining. There are many reasons behind the decline. From pricing to impracticalities of charging standards, many drivers are hesitant to invest in available EV units. Mercedes-Benz is the latest automobile company to realize that the EV demand is fluctuating severely. In January 2024, Renault put its plans to list its EV unit, citing unfavorable stock market conditions. Similarly, General Motors scaled back its EV production targets in response to waning demand. Against this backdrop, it's no surprise that Ola Källenius emphasized the need for a flexible approach in navigating the ups and downs of the EV transition. The automobile manufacturing experts are calling this move a cautious outlook that will maintain Mercedes' global marketing position. They explain that EV consumerism is intricately tied to the mindset and the narratives around the crux of the problem. For someone to make a radical shift in their automobile preferences and to navigate the uncharted world of charging car batteries, they really have to buy into the dangers of climate change. Plus, the costs of buying an EV have to be justified too. Only then, companies like Mercedes-Benz and Renault can think about scrapping their IC engines. It is not surprising that Mercedes has revised its expectations, now predicting that only 50% of its sales will be all electric, a notable shift from the more optimistic projections shared in their fourth-quarter financial report. The company has made it clear that gasoline and hybrid vehicles will remain part of its lineup for the foreseeable future. According to Mercedes, market conditions and customers will set the pace of transformation. The automaker plans to meet a broad range of consumer needs well into the 2030s. whether through electrified combustion engines or fully electric drivetrains. We're far from seeing an all-electric Mercedes, but the company is still producing the best IC engines. Experts worry that the continued production of such advanced engines, coupled with the company's recent announcement, is a big blow to the EV surge. You see, EV manufacturers are pushing for the hefty transition by emphasizing the top-notch performance of their engines. However, as long as automakers like Mercedes keep redefining what it means to be the best, EV manufacturers have a problem on their hands. The data so far shows the very same too. Rivian and Lucid, two automakers that exclusively make electric vehicles, have projected flat production levels for the year. Similarly, Tesla's CEO Elon Musk has warned of significantly slower sales growth for the company in 2024. In response to this stunted trend, companies like Ford and General Motors have either scrapped certain models or delayed plans for new factories. Last year, electric vehicles made up around 8% of total car sales in the United States, while in Europe, they accounted for 13% of the market. And by the looks of it, EV markets remain stagnant. In light of these events, Mercedes-Benz has unveiled its remarkable engine, M139, and with its $15 billion investment underway, it just keeps getting better and better. The most powerful four-cylinder engine in the world. Any car enthusiast knows that four-cylinder engines have nothing on larger 6- and 8-cylinder counterparts. But for some reason, the automobile industry can't have enough of them. Turbocharged four-cylinder engines offer a practical solution, delivering the power traditionally associated with larger engines, while also cutting down on emissions. Though they may never achieve the legendary status of the V8, there are some remarkable four-cylinder engines on the market today. However, if there's one industrial name that takes the podium every single time, it is the Mercedes-Benz's M139 engine. The powerful engine delivers up to 469 horsepower. This engine made its debut in the Mercedes-AMG C63 SE Performance, priced at $84,000. Replacing the M133 engine, which was in production from 2013 to 2019, the M139 packs impressive power for its size. A turbocharged inline-4 used across several Mercedes-Benz and AMG models. It nearly matches the power of the Ford Mustang's Coyote V8, despite being much smaller. While Lotus uses a detuned version in the Emira, it is not quite the same. The engine's performance is impressive across different power levels as it achieves 200 horsepower per liter. Its most powerful version, the M139i variant, powers the Mercedes-AMG C63 SE Performance, delivering 469 horsepower, equivalent to 235 horsepower per liter. This output surpasses even the Bugatti Chiron Supersport, which produces 198 horsepower per liter. The M139 is so advanced that only 3 engines, all found in supercars, exceed its power density. The only vehicles that outperform it in this regard are the Koenigsegg Gemera, Koenigsegg Jesko, and Chinger 21C. And well, you don't need those engines in everyday cars when you have an M139 at your disposal. And it gets better, and, you guessed it, better. The engine doesn't make peak torque until 5,000 RPM, and that peak only lasts for another 250 RPM. But AMG's engineers say this has resulted in an immediately responsive engine, and that they've achieved a power delivery similar to that of a naturally aspirated engine. The former chair of AMG, Tobias Moers, also raved about the company's creation. He shared, "We already set the benchmark in the segment with the preceding engine. With the M139, we have once again impressively demonstrated the engine expertise of Mercedes-AMG. Not only is the output per liter unrivaled for a turbocharged engine, the high level of efficiency also demonstrates that the internal combustion engine still has further potential. The powerful engine was produced at the company's Affalterbach engine manufacturing facility, which Moers believes has perfected AMG's one-man, one-engine manufacturing philosophy. Every single engine produced at AMS is assembled by one master builder, who also signs the machine to add a personalized human touch. In many ways, the M139 is the ultimate gift for the automaker's loyal customers, the very same who refused to buy into the Tesla hype. Moores was specifically proud of the new process his engineers used to develop the world's most powerful four-cylinder engine. For the M139 engine, AMG implemented a new production process where each technician assembles their engine on a sophisticated assembly trolley that moves from station to station. This trolley tracks the assembly steps, ensuring that parts and tools are used in the correct sequence. Traditional overhead tools have been replaced by a cordless fastener equipped with an indoor GPS system, which automatically adjusts the torque based on the tool's position on the engine. The system works like clockwork. A robotized parts car follows each technician, carrying all the necessary components for a single engine, eliminating the need for frequent trips to the parts rack. It is the type of technology that Mitsubishi would hunt for. There is no question that the engine was the finest moment of Mercedes' craftsmanship. In particular, M139 gives a driver a natural aspirated engine, which became one of the defining specs of this powerful machine. To achieve these impressive power figures, AMG engineered the M139 engine starting with a high-strength, chill-cast, closed-deck aluminum block capable of withstanding peak combustion pressures exceeding 2,300 psi, comparable to diesel engines. The piston liners feature AMG's patented nanoslide coating, which reduces friction, further aided by a switch to 0W20 grade oil. The cylinder head has been completely redesigned, with the spark plugs and injectors rotated 90 degrees compared to the previous M133 engine. This change accommodates larger exhaust valves. Additionally, a new two-stage fuel injection system combines direct injectors that spray fuel directly into the combustion chamber with secondary injectors located in the intake manifold, enhancing fuel delivery and efficiency. The M139 engine features an advanced twin-scroll turbocharger with roller bearings to minimize friction and an electronic wastegate actuator for precise control. The turbocharger's turbine housing is divided into two separate flow passages, each linked to a pair of cylinders, preventing exhaust pulses from interfering with one another. The system is cooled by a combination of water, oil, and air, with the latter directed from the grille via ducting and a specially shaped engine cover. Peak boost levels are just under 30.5 psi for the S engine and just over 27.5 psi for the base version. Given the engine's high specific power output, effective cooling was a major concern. If Mercedes had failed to get that part right, the engine would have been good for nothing. But of course, the company came through. To address the cooling problem, the M139 comes with a high-flow electric water pump that enables quicker warm-up and improved water circulation at low speeds. Additionally, a secondary radiator is positioned in the front fender well. To maintain optimal temperatures, the engine block and cylinder head have separate cooling circuits, allowing the head to stay cooler than the block. On S models, the air conditioning system also helps lower the intercooler's temperature during peak power conditions. If Mercedes has a plan to go out with a bang when it ultimately switches to EV, their plan is working out perfectly. What lies in the future? As soon as Mercedes-Benz announced their new, much-delayed time for the EV switch, the automaker made waves in the industry. Companies like Toyota have already been under fire to sideline their EV production to favor a much more diverse hybrid line. So it wasn't surprising that Mercedes also got the same flack. However, it is worth noting that despite using ICEs, the automaker is generally achieving better fuel and thermal efficiency than most of its competitors. While the M139 is a beast on the road, its advanced technology promises remarkable fuel efficiency, ultimately cutting down on carbon emissions. Remarkably, the CLA 45S4 Matic achieves impressive fuel efficiency, rated by the EPA at 20 miles per gallon in the city, 29 on the highway, and a combined 25 miles per gallon. And you already know that the car runs on the M139. In that regard, perhaps, Mercedes is trying to achieve the best of both worlds. But of course, the automaker is also a luxury, and not everyone can afford to get their hands on its latest line. At the same time, there's hope. While the production units of everyday Mercedes cars and its Formula One branch vary, the company is always sharing technology. Back in 2017, the Mercedes-AMG team achieved something remarkable. Unlike the rest of the engines on the grid, the automaker's engines were achieving 50% thermal energy. Such changes to the engines were made in light of Formula One's commitment to cut down carbon emissions, and that year, Mercedes was dominating in a multitude of ways. Its driver, Lewis Hamilton, won the championship, Mercedes was the constructors' champion, and they had the most environmentally friendly car. Dyno tests from Mercedes revealed that their 1.6-liter turbocharged V6 engine exceeds 50% thermal efficiency, meaning over half of the fuel's energy is effectively used for power rather than lost as heat and noise. This is a significant improvement, as many engines only achieve around 35% thermal efficiency. Mercedes focused intensely on fundamental thermal dynamics, including gas exchange processes and combustion efficiency. The team worked on minimizing waste and friction by developing specialized oils and converting exhaust heat into electrical power. The Formula One power unit also features two motor generators. One assists with driving the rear wheels, while the other helps spool the turbocharger. The craftsmanship of the engine echoes everything that AMG has achieved with the M139 engines, but for very distinct purposes. But what we can infer is that Mercedes can cut down on emissions, and it can remain on top of the game. While the two engines might not always be comparable, there are feats that Mercedes can enhance for its ICEs. Regardless, the automaker is continuously making improvements to its M139 engine. A part of this strategy is to ensure that all the relevant stakeholders remain interested in Mercedes's positive growth. According to Ola Kaolinius, he wanted the customers and investors to know that the company was in a viable state to continue producing combustion car engines and was ready to bring a faster and updated technology well into the next decades. Its current plans for updates mean it is almost like we will have a new lineup in 2027 that will take us well into the 2030s. Right after the controversial announcement, shares in the luxury car maker were up by 5.9%, followed by a $3.3 billion share buyback program. This was alone strong evidence for the company that they are heading in the right direction, even if it comes at the cost of Mercedes's public image. By the looks of it, the M139 would be roaring in the 2030s too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.